Hello, everybody. Chuck, Northside Guy, back with a new episode featuring three more Hall of Famers appearing in the 1933 Goudey set. I haven't had a video in a couple of weeks. I've been traveling. Notable among my travels is a visit to Cooperstown last weekend with my 11-year-old son. We toured the Baseball Hall of Fame, and he wore his Little League uniform, just as I did at the same age when I was a boy, and talk about circle of life stuff. If you haven't been and you love the game of baseball, you absolutely have to visit Cooperstown. Main Street in Cooperstown has a lot of sports memorabilia shops. Shout out to Yastrzemski Sports, which is at the main intersection of Main Street there. They have some wonderful stuff. Really special experience. It was immersive. It had an exhibit that featured baseball from the late 70s, early 80s when I was a boy. I had some videos of the baseball bunch. I don't know how many of you guys remember watching that on Saturday mornings, but that was a real hoot to see that again. Anyway, you're here to see the cards. Enough of me talking. This is a low number. Bill Dickey is a low number here. Remember, in the 1933 set, cards numbered 1 to 52 are considered low number, harder to get, more expensive. Here is a beautiful card from that. Bill Dickey was a member of 14 World Series champion teams of the New York Yankees. He was a catcher. He taught Yogi Berra the finer points of catching later after he retired. Dickey replaced Benny Bengow as the Yankees' starting catcher. You may recall that Benny Bengow's card appears as number 1 in the 1933 Goudey set. Very difficult card to get. I had an episode dedicated only to that. I don't expect many of you will really care about that, but if you collect the 33 Goudey series, I think you can really appreciate the card because it's very difficult to find. Bill Dickey, in 1936, had a batting average of .362, which was the highest single-season average ever recorded by a catcher until it was tied by Mike Piazza in 1997, and then broken by Joe Mauer of the Minnesota Twins, hitting .365 in 2009. Bill Dickey's number 8 was retired by the Yankees in 1972, interestingly, Bill Dickey himself appeared in The Pride of the Yankees, the movie The Pride of the Yankees, and the scene he appears in was a scene in which a younger Yankee player was grumbling in the locker room saying, "The old man on first needs crutches to get around," and Dickey, following the script, belted the younger player, after which he said the kid talked out of turn. So Bill Dickey is the first of three we're going to look at today. I think this is a beautiful card. I think those colors are really classic Goudey, and I just love this card. Next up is Cuyler, in the season appearing here with the Chicago Cubs, another low number here. Kiki regularly batted over .350. He was noted for his great speed. He was a right fielder. His lifetime batting average was .321. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1968 by the Veterans Committee. Interestingly, Kiki was the only player, he is the only Major League player in history to hit for a cycle, get a walk, and steal a base in one game, and he did that in 1925. And later that same year, he hit 2 inside-the-park home runs in a single game. So some interesting stories from the career of Cuyler. Card number 23 here in the series. Moving on. Featuring Tony Lazzeri, who you can see in the photograph in the back. He's to the right there, next to, of course, Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig. No introduction needed there. Lazzeri also is a member of the Hall of Fame, inducted in 1991 by the Veterans Committee. He was part of the famed Murderers Row Yankees team in 1927. When I was looking at his Major League statistics, I couldn't figure out maybe would he have gotten in on his own. His lifetime batting average was .292, 178 homers, nearly 1,200 RBIs. So I'm not sure he would have gotten in on his own. I think it really did matter that he was part of some classic teams in baseball history. I was able to find some interesting stories about him. Let's see. Lazzeri was one of only 14 Major League ball players to hit for the natural cycle. And what a natural cycle is I didn't know this, hitting a single, double, triple, and a home run in sequence. And he was the only player to complete a natural cycle with a grand slam. Lazzeri also holds the American League record for most RBIs in a single game with 11, which he did in 1936. And in that same 1936 game, he became the first Major League player to hit 2 grand slams in one game. So some pretty exciting stories there. In that 1927 year, the famed Murderers Row, Lazzeri finished third in the American League in home runs behind only Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig. And he was in third place with just 18 home runs. So that really gives you some further perspective of just how dominant Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig were in that era, and really any era. So Tony Lazzeri, another episode here. I'm going to continue to feature more Hall of Fame cards and other slices and views of this famous set. I hope you'll stick with me. I hope you're finding it interesting, and hope you are beginning to see, as I do, the many different ways you can explore a particular set and slice it and dice it. And these cards are just such classic cards. I hope you're enjoying looking at them. Thank you. Take care, everyone.